To all the depressed, anxious, funny-looking dudes out there who complain about their dating issues, Pete Davidson is a balding, insecure, anxious, funny-looking 24-year-old dude who has Crohn's disease and, oh yeah, his dad died on 9/11. And swiftly after breaking up with Larry David's daughter Cassie, just a few weeks later, is engaged to one of the biggest pop stars in the world, Ariana Grande. Pete is the kind of guy who, despite all the absolute shit things in his life, seems to just stumble into greatness really fast. How did he get on an MTV show? His agent knew someone. Then he met Amy Schumer and he got a small part on Trainwreck. Then he met Bill Hader, who tried getting him on SNL with an audition. He met Lauren and Lauren was like, "You aren't really good for SNL, but I'll let you know what happens." Then a month later, Lauren calls him and is like, "Okay, you're gonna be on the show. See you at work." He did stand-up for his SNL audition. Nobody does stand-up for their SNL auditions. So what does all this have to do with charm? I think there's a lot you could learn from old Petey when it comes to charm.
You're betting on a lunch with Chad, so we'll start the bidding at, I don't know, $50. Sound good, Chad?
Okay.
All right. Do I hear 50?
Oh my God, there's something about that boy. $50, 100, 500.
1,000.
But before I get into the deep stuff, right on the surface, Pete's the type of guy most people would want to be friends with. He's just cool. His style's unique, he's hilarious, and he's honest as fuck. And to get further into his honesty, Pete is like crazy honest, seemingly to a fault. But that's the exact trait that I am sure Ariana and his past girlfriends found so charming about him. This is what separates charming men like Pete from loser fuckboys, players, pickup artists, etc. Charming dudes are super real and vulnerable people. You look straight into their eyes and there's not one fishy thing about them. It's like this with Pete too. You could tell there's not an ounce of facade. And that's why I think gals dig him. Confident women hate meeting a guy and sensing some sort of hidden ulterior motive. Don't hide anything.
You know, I'm ugly as fuck, but whenever you put on like a pair of sneakers that are like new and crisp, it always like makes you feel good no matter what.
All right, well, hold on. I lost my train of thought.
So
right.
Trump, how do you feel?
Exactly.
Do you ever think God was just intending to take you out and you're fighting the inevitable?
Yeah.
Like he wants you to
I
live.
won't die because I'm not lucky.
Right, because he's trying.
That's how I look at it. If I was lucky, I would die. I would be happy to die.
But
I'm gonna be one of those 90-year-old dudes with a fucking
broken
oxygen tank.
You know, people say they don't. You know, for Khaled's like they don't want you to win. They is God.
Yeah,
that's
God does not want me to win.
God
at all.
doesn't want Pete Davidson.
I'm like,
to
dude,
win.
I'm just like.
And by win, you mean breathe.
Yeah.
Basically, with what he deals with on a daily basis, he shouldn't be getting the success or dating the amazing women that he has. Most people I know with crippling anxiety and extremely low self-image are not able to do what he does. Being completely comfortably open about your weaknesses is a huge secret to being crazy attractive to women. Most guys think that being confident is about hiding every little negative thing about you and only presenting your strengths and power. This is so wrong. You literally want to do the opposite. It's a fine balance, this vulnerability thing. What does comfortably open about your weaknesses actually mean? It doesn't mean that you talk about your problems and then minimize them, acting as though they don't bother you. That's still hiding. But on the other end, it also doesn't mean that you're constantly venting to everyone you meet and are visibly affected and emotional at every moment. That's, well, pitiful. And what does it look like? To be completely comfortably open means that you could talk about your issues or shortcomings as though you're talking about the weather and then move on to something else. You could even joke about it a bit, not too much, or it'll be obvious it's all an act. Like, let me show you something about me to give you an example. I used to be really insecure about my nose as a kid. When I hit 8th grade, every one of my Anglo-Saxon white-ass friends had these cool names like Jake Wolf and PJ Turso and Davin Reed. Then I hit puberty and Anthony Resinello with a big Italian nose and the name nobody could ever pronounce, not even once, stuck out like a sore freaking thumb. I hated it. I cried to my mommy so hard that one day she printed out a picture of all the attractive celebrities with big noses to try to make me feel better. Tell me, would you ever admit to Ariana Grande that you actually replaced the teeth you have in your mouth?
Pete, big into Jordans. Any recent purchases?
No, I've been chilling. I got new teeth, so I have to chill on getting some sneakers.
All right.
Just want to let everybody know these are temporaries. I'm aware that they might look a little fake, but that's because the realer ones are coming tomorrow.
So Jordan 3 new teeth. You picked teeth Always.
Yeah. I needed the new teeth.
Okay.
Yeah, I've always wanted. I had big ass gums when my teeth were mad thin and Irish. You know, so I got new ones. But I just wanted to let you guys know. I know.
I don't even have mirrors in my house because I don't like my face.
Or that you're balding before you're 21 and getting treated for it with alopecia? Or that you were diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, or that you think you're fucking ugly, and that you also have a disease that makes you shit literally 30 times a day? Does that sound like something Ariana Grande would get turned on by? The truth of it is, yes, she would, and she does. Because confident, attractive women don't want pretty boy perfectionists. There's no character about them. They're all charisma and facade and have zero charm. Charm is about embracing who you are, scars and all. You know what I think? I think that Pete just has such a whirlwind of shit constantly happening in his life that holding it in would be too much. He's mentioned his bouts with suicidal thoughts before. I think he realized he can actually function as a human being when all of his issues are out in the open. There's no more hiding for him, and he could kind of relax in that way, knowing there's a tornado of shit flying around him instead of erupting inside of him. Actually, that must be how he feels. Pete's life is a tornado, but he himself is the eye of the storm in the center that's learned to be calm and kind of functional. I honestly think that the biggest part of people's problems isn't the problems themselves, but constantly trying to act as though the problems bubbling inside aren't there. It's therapeutic to be at peace with your issues. It'll feel like a relief once you air this all out. He met Cazzie David on the set of SNL back when Larry was doing the Bernie Sanders impersonation. Ariana was also a guest on SNL, but I don't think that's where they made a connection. It was a year later in early 2018 when Ariana attended an SNL after party and both parties had ended or were in the process of ending their former relationships. Knowing Pete's habit of just stumbling into success, my guess is that they just felt comfortable talking to each other, being the two youngest people in the room. Pete doesn't look the type to want to yuck it up with the other cast members, and maybe they connected on hip-hop music or tattoos or some shit. As much as Pete mentions how his classmates bullied him in high school, he seems to embody the type of guy that would be super popular and attractive in my hometown as a teen. Tattoos, tall and skinny, a real hip-hop fanatic, expert joint roller, laid back, and pointedly funny. Kind of like Bill Burr on acid. And I want to go back to the way Pete interacts with people. He has this thing that I think is more important than any other social skill you could learn. When he's interacting with someone, he's what I like to call engaged. What I mean by that is there's nothing more important at that very moment than just taking in the person in front of him. He has a calm presence when listening. Everyone thinks that to be a good communicator, you have to have exciting things to say and all that shit. It's completely false. All you need is to be present there with the person. Nothing should be going on up in your head. There's no move. There's no master plan. There's no trick. There's nothing he's trying to gain. And I think that's what Amy Schumer saw in him. I think that's what Bill Hader saw. I think that's what Lorne Michaels saw. I think that's what Cazzie David saw. And I think that's what Ariana saw. Because while the rest of the world, especially the entertainment world, is working on constantly feeding the beast of validation inside themselves, Pete has dealt with enough shit in his life to know to keep it at arm's length. Because that's when you could see people and things clearly in front of you for who and what they are instead of what you want from them. So to everyone else, it looks like you're doing some sort of magic trick. Why does it look like he's not trying to impress everyone? Why does it look like he's not a slave to addiction of climbing the social ladder or becoming more famous or rich? I think it's because of the tragedy of his father passing at an early age. He's realized on a deep level that those things are fleeting and mean little compared to the simple enjoyment of having the opportunity to just live. It looks like magic to people and in turn is compelling and admirable, especially to the famous people who are around scum-fuck, blood-sucking star fuckers most of the time and crave someone that could purely just look at the you behind the you.
I feel like I won a contest. So sick.
How are you handling it all right now?
Lit, Jimmy.
Oh my God. I was gonna say that, but
it's so lit. It's so funny walking down the street because like dudes are walking by and they're like, Like, you ever see that Derek Jeter commercial where he was like retiring and everybody just tips his hat?
That's right. It feels like that.
Yeah. Some dude came up to me. He was like, "Yo, man, you like gave me hope." I was like, I didn't know I was that ugly.
It is time to go further down the rabbit hole of learning about confidence, charm, being yourself, networking, and relationship mastery. And I've made it easy for you to choose your own adventure. Links are in the description down below, boys and girls. In this corner is my free audiobook, Iconic Bachelor, Learning from the Greats, that gives you the absolute strongest foundation for a wildly confident human being. I've literally broken down confidence, attractiveness, and happiness down into 3 dead simple traits. Use this for your inner self. And in this corner is my free video course based on my soulmate method program. A soulmate is simply a person you have an intense connection, chemistry, and attraction with. You could have many soulmates, and this free 25-minute course teaches you the most effective, efficient way to find and start relationships with them. Use this for your outer lifestyle. I make sure to pack as much juicy goodness into my free programs as possible because, I hate it when you get something free and it fucking sucks. I don't want that. I don't want you to have that. So yeah, changing your life is guaranteed. Go down into the description right now and choose which one you'll start with. I'm gonna see you on over there. And then I'll see you back on YouTube. And always remember, guys, relationships are everything.